Structure of an essay. Dear students, today let us concentrate on essay writing. Why is essay writing an integral part of education? Do you know how to write a proper essay? Are you aware of the different components of a good essay? We shall see the basics of essay writing and the various components that are involved in it. An essay is mostly a short piece of writing in a good language. It is usually written from the author's viewpoint. According to most literary authors, every essay writing is a literary expression for describing things in the most elaborate way. There are different types of essays such as photographic essays, film essays, admission or education based essays. As we can see, essay writing is considered as a very important testing medium. Although one word answers test the recalling capacity of students, essays are used to evaluate the in-depth knowledge of a student. Another group of authors define an essay as a short piece of literary composition on a simple topic. All teachers, however, should teach their students the basics of writing an essay, including form, content and structure. It is also important that the different types of essays are differentiated based on the requirements. In this chapter, we will look into the different aspects of essays. Types of essay structure. In the introductory session, we had seen the definition and the importance of essay writing. However, in modern education systems, writing essays is an effective manner has come significant. Writing essays has now become a common sight in schools and a component of standardized tests. The key to success in answering a question correctly lies in choosing the right type of essay to write the response for a question. Evidently, students cannot afford to get confused about the various types of essays. There are many varieties of essays with very small differences in their purpose, and so it is easy to get perplexed with them. According to popular theories in literature, there are 4 major types of essays with minor variations making up for the test. The writer or the author determines the types of essays as he writes it. The basis of an essay boils down to a personal experience to describe something or an object, to elaborate on an issue, or to convince the reader to agree to a specific viewpoint. The 4 major types of essays are mainly narrative, descriptive, expository and persuasive. The first type is a narrative essay in which the author talks and tells the readers a real life or an imaginary story. Although saying a story or narrating orally is easier than depicting the exact emotions in an essay is a tough task. For students to express their real life emotions on writing is a challenging task. While writing a narrative essay, one should remember to make the essay more vivid as possible. The main focus of the narrative essay is to engage and engross the reader into the narration. Hence, the narrative essays are generally written in first person because the sentences with the word I in it instill a sense of belonging to the narration. A well written narrative essay will also arrive at a conclusion and make a personal statement. The second type of essay is more or less similar to a narrative essay and is known as the descriptive essay. In such essays, the author tends to describe and elaborate a person, object, place and even a vivid memory. This type of essay, although describes, does not give a detailed description. It struggles to communicate a stronger meaning through the elucidation. The third type of an essay is an expository essay that concerns with the pure expression of facts. This type of an essay is a purely informative piece of writing that represents a balanced research of a particular topic. In this essay type, the author elucidates and defines a specific topic using factual data, statistical data and relevant examples. It spans over a wide range of essay variations, essays and essays that have to, how to or process related essay. Authors do not write expository essay in first person because they do not express feelings or emotions, but only factual data. The last type of essays are persuasive essays that are written in order to convince the reader to agree with the author's viewpoint. This is usually observed in thesis writing, where all angles of a topic are analyzed and concluded. Let us deal with the parts of an essay. There are typically three parts in an essay: the introduction, body and conclusion. In further discussions, we shall see how to write the three parts of essays effectively. As we had seen earlier, the purpose of an admission essay is different from an exit essay. The reader might take a lot of time reading the exit essay. On the other hand, for an admission essay, the administrative office might take very few minutes to read each application. Although there are certain standards to write an essay, it has to be altered according to its purpose, such as an exit essay can permit a standard introduction that has an argument to support your views. On the other hand, the introduction for the admission essay has to be simplified and has to be written to attract the reader. Usually, in such essays, the introduction must be crisp and to the point and encourage the reader to read further into the essay. We shall now discuss the several methods for making your readers shook into the essay. A very good way to start off an introduction is to write a compelling introduction. This can be done by waiting to write a complete rough draft of what you want to say and then extract the essence from it. Let us see some of the ways to hook the reader to your essay. The first is to get emotional so that the reader can place himself in the subject and get engrossed into your writing. This ensures a connection between the reader and the writer. It is better to start by writing about an incident or an event that the writer feels emotional about rather than starting off describing something or revealing facts. The next tip is to be mysterious so that reader gets enthusiastic about reading further. The third tip is to give a short story of life that does not relate much to the subject, yet it hooks the reader to the content. The next tip is to ask inquisitive questions that kindles the curiosity of the reader. The body of an essay is the middle component of essay writing and is the easiest of all to write. The basic steps in it are to outline the ideas and put the thoughts into a logical sequence and narrate the content in a seamless manner to navigate through various points. It is important to keep the content of the body connected with the introduction and should lead a way to the conclusion also. It is recommended to provide solid and concrete examples to support your essay. The final part of an essay is the conclusion, which represents the gist of the information and data stated in the introduction and the body. This is a very crucial part of an essay, as this leaves a final impression with the person who reads it. Hence, one should avoid answering big questions or explain something negative or using cliches and summarizing the whole essay. Also, ending the essay with an open-ended questions and giving the reader space to think about the essay is a good technique to be followed. Now, let us deal with the essay writing process. How to write essay? In the previous topic, we had discussions about the various parts of the essay and how to frame the content for each of the components. In this topic, we shall see the steps in an essay writing process. The first step in the essay writing process is to analyze the questions presented to us. Certain questions are written in a way that most of the major content and the structure are outlined neatly in the essay. However, analyzing the question helps us proceed in a specific direction. It is good to pay keen attention to words that will determine a general topic and helps one to build a good and strong introduction. Such directional words help one in approaching the questions in the right way. The next step is research, where one has to read widely, and in some cases the outline of the essay will give directions on what to read. However, all types of essay research do not require the same set of efforts. It may vary across subjects. Some topics require very less research and some may have extensive research. The sources of such information are journals, newspapers, books and internet based articles. It is important to remember that when one writes an essay, he or she should never copy the words verbatim from the source, which may lead to plagiarism. To reduce the workload in this process, start by taking small notes on the large paragraphs and then organize them according to priority. The third step is to plan how to write the essay. Have you all experienced a similar situation during assignment writing and examinations? Yes, this is the most common aspect of any type of writing and especially essay writing. First, to start with, one has to organize the data given to them and then start writing with appropriate headings. It is also recommended to write an essay in a logical and coherent manner to maintain the reader's interest and sustain the content. Before you start, just ask yourself, what is your basic viewpoint or aim? This question helps you in planning accordingly. However, jotting down these points also aids in detecting the extra content or irrelevant content. The fourth step is to write the essay and follow the plan to write a proper structure. It is advisable to write an essay based on clear headings and eliminating irrelevant topics from final draft later. Always remember to substitute words with apt replacements and pay keen attention to topic sentences. It is important to make it clear as to what points have to be communicated to the reader. Always remember to avoid using any colloquial phrases and informal language. It is important to communicate ideas and thoughts in full sentences. Also, the writer has to remember to reference other people's work and ideas when you have used it in the work. It is advisable to correct minor errors and proofread documents again. The final step in the essay writing process is to edit them carefully. Failure in editing will impact on the quality of the work. Easy to read documents are preferred by one and all, irrespective of their positions. Never hesitate to give in more time to fulfill this step. There are two forms of editing such as micro and macro editing. Micro editing involves spell checking and punctuations. Inconsistent referring affects the quality, and micro editing refers to editing the whole essay and the proofreading it thoroughly. Now, let us look into the features of an essay. There are main features of an essay such as form, content, structure and style. The first aspect is the form of an essay, which usually has to be subtle and it receives the highest recognition in form of marks. When the author writes text at the base level of the form, it is easy to analyze how the other features other than the appropriate meanings have been used by him in effective ways. To understand the importance of the form to your text, test this with your friends in assignments. Have you ever typed in caps locks in your friends or chat with them normally? What is the difference? Using long winding sentences are also spoiling the forms of one's writing. The forms of writing differ from purpose to another, such as novelists might write paragraphs of varying lengths, but dialogues are written with more expressive words. Have you ever wondered how little poets write, but the words in them seem to convey more meanings? As we had seen earlier, form refers to the way a text is written and the content is the actual meaning of words. Form and content are inseparable components of an essay and act as two sides of coins. There are various ways to make an essay innovative, creative and effective in attracting the reader's mind. It is important to remember that every word and a phrase have a literal meaning in it. The other type of meaning is the figurative meaning, where the word's actual meaning is manipulated. Words and phrases that can be used in a different manner from their literal context are known as connotations. The other way of expressing words is by metaphorical expression. Most poets and authors use pun, that is a witty play with words to denote another meaning, and this is open to the reader's predictions. Some authors prefer to use irony in their essays to flaunt their style of expressing the meanings of words in a different manner. The content and the form is not sufficient to build the right text, it needs a sound foundation too. This is known as the structure of the text. Structure is the way in which a writer or the author consciously gives the text a shape and makes it effective enough to be delivered to the readers. This is seen evidently in a thriller genre book, where the author tends to build up curiosity in the minds of the people and sustain the suspense till the end. The final aspect of an essay is its style or the way it is written. Style differs from author or speaker to another or from audience to another. In short, style is the way one represents the structure and content of a speech or an essay to suit the reader or the audience in order to receive a positive response. Styles play an important role in identifying the author of the essay or the speech too, because everyone has his or her own style of writing and presenting it. Comparison of narrative and expository text. So, we had seen the types of essays, the parts of the good essay and their characteristics. We had also seen the various components of any essay, such as form, structure, content and style. Here in this topic, we shall discuss the differences and similarities between a personal narrative essay and an expository essay. To start with, let us have a detailed study of the personal narrative essay. In this, the student generally writes a story about a memorable or an unforgettable moment in life. He or she writes it usually sequence right from how the incident started to how it ended. This essay is usually written in the first person, containing words such as I saw, I felt, etc. Using first person in narrative essays improves and gets the reader to read the essay with more enthusiasm. In this essay, an author or the writer makes use of sensory images to project the events in a live manner to the reader. On the other hand, in an expository essay, the writer or the author usually states his or her opinion or an observation on what has happened or happening. The essay is thereby a collection of organized observations that contain phrases. However, it is common for such essays to elaborate or discuss on arguments from various angles that becomes the theme statement. Moreover, the whole essay is built upon this pivotal idea. Expository essays are part of higher education and are asked in order to analyze what the author and the reader interpret the content as. The main argument is bolstered with ample examples and minute details. The challenge lies in to choose a topic and starting to write on it. However, topics concerning the author or common sports or adventure can be elaborated into a personal narrative or an expository essay. From such facts, we get to understand that a common topic can be written either as a personal narrative or as an expository essay. In some schools and universities, students are given a task to write topic in both styles. This activity helps them to incorporate fine details, sensory images, perception and personal experiences. Examples of topics for these types of essays are: tell your favorite kind of music or book, and why do you like it, and why would you recommend it? The narrative text usually contains a story line or an essay, and expository contains a collection of data and facts. The formal type has literature elements such as characters, plot, theme, setting, climax and resolution, whereas the expository essay has elements such as introduction, bold headings, definitions, visuals like graphs and pictures, chapter summary, chapter questions. Finally, the narrative essay type has components such as introduction, which gives a brief description of the theme, setup, etc. The next component is the body, and finally the conclusion of the narration. In the expository essay, the various components are structure, advance, organizer, introduction and bold headings followed by summary. While concluding, I would like to remind you to summarize the concept of essay writing. Let us start with what is an essay and what is its purpose. An essay is mostly a short piece of writing in a good language. It is usually written from the author's viewpoint. We had then understood as to why essays were used as testing materials in universities and schools. We had then moved on to study the various types of essays such as narrative, descriptive and expository essays. We had then observed the various parts of an essay that consists of a compelling introduction, a detailed body and a strong conclusion that will interest the reader to read the essay. We had then looked into the various steps involved in writing an essay and how each step played a significant role in the essay. Then we had studied the several features in an essay such as form, content, structure and style. Form refers to the way a text is written and the content is the actual meaning of words. Form and content are like the two sides of a coin that cannot be separated completely. Structure is the way in which a writer or the author consciously gives the text a structure and makes it effective enough to be delivered to the readers. Also, style plays an important role in writing and it provides an exclusive identity to the author. Then moving on to the comparison between a narrative essay and an expository essay, we had seen the former was usually used to describe an experience or a real life situation, and the latter was used to present an argument or a topic in a wholesome way. Although we might have written many essays in life, did you ever know so many facts about essay writing? I hope all of you enjoyed this session and understood the basic formats of essays. Please keep writing essays and make yourself and the readers happy. Thank you.